and see.
There we go. I don't know what happened.
There? Oh my
I have
God.
no idea. It just cut off. It said, "Thanks for joining."
Yeah. Oh, all right then. We'll try it and just see what happens.
All right,
Yeah.
cool.
So you were saying that you've been really busy
Yeah.
with the astrology at the moment, which
Mm-hmm.
is a good thing. So have you found that you've had more time to kind of put in your efforts because of like the pandemic, like being at home and things?
No, not really, because I'm a full-time, I work in the hospital, financial area of the hospital. So I still have full-time work. I'm looking at right now transition into doing the astrology full-time. So it's been really crazy with trying to balance out my schedule, my day-to-day life, and do the astrology as well.
Yeah. All right. So because I heard your story on Clubhouse, which was like amazing, because
Yeah.
I want you to kind of tell us about your journey, but it was a really interesting journey. And I kind of wanted you as well, because you're a guy and a black guy as well, that I don't normally see that, like a guy having an interest in astrology, which I think is really amazing as well. And inspiring. So what made you interested in doing astrology and becoming an astrologer?
Well, first I started studying it, like, having an interest in it when I was around like 12 years old. It was always fascinating to me, the sun signs, I'm a Taurus, you're a Scorpio, you're a Pisces, you're this, you're that. And then I would read online what it was, and it was fascinating to me that when I saw that I'm a Taurus and it actually described me and some of the things that I did or how I looked, I was like, wow. So then I would go to school and look at the other kids and look at the physical features. Oh, a Pisces looks like this. A Cancer has a round face and round eyes, and it was real. And I was like, wow, this is crazy. So then I just kept on. At that time, I only knew about sun signs. So I would go online and try to put my sun sign with maybe a girl who was in my class to do the little love compatibility, see who I was interested in. And so I kept on doing that for a while. And like I said, it became an everyday thing to where I would see people, I would interact with them, even as a kid, and I would see how they talk, their mannerisms, the way they dressed, the way their hair was, the way their eyes was, their nose shape. And I was so fascinated by it. It became like a thing that was always a part of my life. So then actually what made me dive deeper into it and take it seriously was when I went through a situation personally when I was around 22, where I was going through some personal issues at home with my mother, and I had to end up leaving because it was just a lot of stuff going on that she was going through, and it reflected on me. So I had to go, and then I spent a lot of time alone when I had to leave and get my own place, and I just dove deeper into it. I just dove so deeper into it. Then I started to get into moon signs, and you have an ascendant in Mercury, and then it's a conjunction here, and then this is 3 degrees, this is that. I'm like, wow. And then what really helped me and what really made me want to take it seriously is that when I started to break down my own birth chart, it actually showed in my birth chart the things that happened between me and my mom, the things that happened between me and my dad, the things that happened to my life personally. So what it did for me personally, and why I'm so passionate about it, so adamant about it, I'm so fired up about it, and I'm just like so just heads on about it, is because it helped me in my healing process. Because I went through a very, 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 very dark time after that situation I dealt with my mother. And then to see that my birth chart basically outlined that for my life, it was amazing to me. So what it helped me do was it helped me get to a state of like forgiveness. So it helped me forgive, because I'm like, okay, if this is in my birth chart, if I'm seeing this, then it must be a method to this madness. And I always used to ask questions as a kid, just curious about certain things. Like, do we come into this world with things already pre-written? If there's a God, what's the point of living? Because he already preordained your steps, just all different types of stuff. So the birth chart kind of confirmed to me that we come into this world We get a script, we come into this world, and we live out this script. And the planets and everything that are playing out are just giving the energies and the indication on what's going to happen and what's going on in your life. So it helped me forgive myself, forgive my mother, forgive forgive just anything that may have happened to me, because I'm seeing it right here in front of my face. I'm reading it. I'm sitting here seeing it. And it helped me in my forgiveness process. It helped me in my healing process from what happened to me in my childhood. And then I saw Chiron. I saw all types of different types of stuff that just gave me such an indication that, wow, we really do come into this world and pick a script and just live out our lives like an actor. You know, an actor picks a script, signs on the dotted line, and plays that role. So it helped me tremendously. And then I just took it heads on, just kept studying. But what I also kept doing was I like to consider myself like a real life astrologer, because it's easy to read a book and read something on Google or astro.com and then go about it that way. But I actually I watch how people shop at Walmart. You know, I watch how people drive, how people communicate with each other, how people look, you know, the way they chew. This is all an indication of how you're astrologically made up. So I spend a lot of time just studying people. So it's like it's a real life thing to me as well. It's not just a knowledge thing. It's like I actually live and breathe this. I'm watching movies and I'm guessing people sun sign, or guessing people's Mercury or their Pluto and all types of stuff. It's like it gets really crazy. So now I feel like where I am now currently today is that I feel like I'm just living out my birth chart, because in my birth chart, it basically outlines that I will be doing some type of work, talking, and I'm going to be doing something in occult like knowledge, you know, which is astrology, because my moon is in the 12th house in Scorpio. So I'm kind of just living out my birth chart. And I'm now trying to share my story and share my knowledge and efforts to help other people heal, other people grow, and other people become better parents, become better brothers, become better friends, because astrology literally changed the whole dynamic of the way I look at life and the way that I interact with people. It's just so crazy. I could go on for days.
Wow. So you're saying that you looked at your birth chart and it told you about your relationship with your mum. So then you're looking at your birth chart and it's also telling you stuff of what's going to happen in the future. Wow.
It's a indication. It's an outline of the past, the present, the future. It could tell you what happened to you at birth, whether you have some type of birth defect. It could tell you, you know, how the interaction with you and other children at school as you were growing up, the interaction with you and your grandparents, and the mom, the dad, you know, how you feel about yourself. It's so much. Everything was there, and I couldn't run from it after I saw it in my chart. I was like, wow, that happened to me. That really happened to me. So I was like, this stuff is true, and anybody who doesn't think that it's true, well, we just got to find a way to, you know, enlighten them, because I always felt, even as a kid, that, you know, we're not just put here and we think the way we think for no reason. We don't look the way we look for no reason. We don't talk the way we talk or are into the things that we're into for no reason. That's just not by happenstance. And as I started to dive deeper into astrology, it explained all those things that I naturally wondered as a kid. You know, why is he tall and he talks like this? Why is this particular friend short and his hair like that and he's into video games? Like, astrology explained that to me. And I was like, oh. So now, at the point I am in my life now, it has helped me with my interactions with people. Like, people, they give me a lot of praise for the way that I conduct myself around people. And what it is that I understand that just like I have a birth chart, you have a birth chart too. So by you talking, walking, act in a certain way, all you're doing is acting out your birth chart, you know? And it's my duty, being in your presence, to not be judgmental or try to control you. Just let you be you, because you have a birth chart just like I have a birth chart. You have a Mars placement just like I have a Mars placement. So who am I to try to control you or judge you? So now when I'm in people's presence, I'm just at peace with the fact that they are them. And I think that can change the world so much. We can get out of a lot of the nonsense that we're into, the things that divide us, if we just say, wow, this is a person that has a birth chart just like me, and they're being them. It's really that simple. So I'm at peace with, if I have someone I'm interacting with that's a Gemini rising, and they may cut me off while I'm talking, or they may talk too much. I'm like, oh, you're just a Gemini rising. It's no big deal. You know, it's no big deal. Or somebody who may have a Leo moon, who, you know, they're very funny and they seek a lot of attention. Oh, no, it's no big sweat. You're just a Leo moon. As a matter of fact, I'm going to create the environment for you to allow you to be the best Leo moon that you can be. I'm not going to try to dim your light. As a matter of fact, take the mic. You're a Leo moon. Have fun, you know? And I feel like we can get a lot further in life if we start making environments conducive to people's strengths, and stop putting people in boxes or try to control them and make them be who we want them to be, you know? And I feel like astrology could change the whole dynamic of our existence here on Earth if we actually take the time to understand each other and understand just astrology and how it works in our lives.
Wow. As I know that, you know, if you see like in India, in the Hindu religion, a lot of like astrology, they use that to like pair up couples as well.
Yes,
And, you know, yeah, in the Vedic, it was just a normal thing. You look at a child's birth chart and you just kind of see their path as well. So what you're using, the astrology you're using, is the Greek astrology, is it with the Leo?
I'm using the Western tropical astrology. I haven't got into the Vedic yet. I'm going to end up getting into that, because I see truths in all forms of knowledge, and for what we're talking about now, I see truths in all forms of astrology. But as of right now, yeah, I'm using the Western or the tropical format.
What do you mean by tropical?
So the tropical, what it is it's based off the seasons. So just like you have Aries starts off the spring, then you keep on going on and on and on. That's what tropical. Tropical is what we predominantly use here in America. See, like you said, Vedic was for Hindus, or the you said Indians. It's just their form. It's just another language. You know, it's just another form of language for astrology, and they use a different form of calculations. That's all it really is. But it all pretty much resonates, and it all has its own truth.
Yeah, because I've looked into, like, you know, with the Chinese astrology, I have to always know like what year the Chinese is, with the Chinese year and everything like that. I think of the goat. So, and I know this year is all about, it's the ox.
Yeah.
So, and then there's the Egyptian astrology as well that I looked into like years ago. But I don't know if have you had a look at the Egyptian?
I haven't had a look at the Chinese, but a lot of what we use today has come from the Egyptians. You know, it's way back in history. You know, studying the sun, studying everything. That a lot of what the foundation that what we have built for today when it comes to astrology, a lot of it comes from the Egyptians. A lot of it was then taken and kind of reignited or reinvigorated in a certain sense from the Greeks. And then, you know, the knowledge keeps passing on and passing on and passing on, keeps getting better and better and better. So everything is a form of something else.
Yeah, I mean, what I found with the Egyptian astrology was it was with the star signs, it was completely the opposite. So with the Greek, it was like, oh, so I kind of know a bit about the Greek star sign, but the Egyptian is like a complete flip.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, and that kind of confused me. I was like, well, which one is right and which one's wrong?
Yeah. It's just about finding which one resonates and which one works for you. I try to tell people when they're getting into different forms of astrology is that the most important thing to focus on is the course of life. You know, because according to our ascendant sign, you know, that tells us our course of life. You know, I try not to tell people to get too caught up in what feels right. Like, oh, you know, in one form of astrology, it says I'm a Taurus, but the other form of astrology says I'm an Aries. And you know what? I feel like I am more of this Aries. But what about your course of life? Let's make sure that the events that have taken place in your life, the relationship to the people in your life match up. You know, is that the right thing? Because I can feel like any sign. I could wake up tomorrow and want to act like an Aquarius. You know, I could wake up tomorrow and want to exhibit the traits of a Leo. But that won't determine the course of my life, because the course of my life is that I'm a Scorpio ascendant. So that shapes and molds the events, the lens that I look at life through, you know, how I interact with people, how other people see me. You know, that's what's really, really important. So yeah.
So with, you know, so is that all with the star signs and like with astrology, then you're intertwining, like, you know, we've just come out of a Mercury retrograde and then yesterday was a full moon in Virgo. Do you look at all of that in
Yes,
when
I
it
look
comes
at that
to?
as well. I look at that as well because it's all important, because when we start to get into the transits, like you said, what is the moon doing? What is Mercury doing? What is Jupiter, Mars doing? This is how you can start to help people interpret what's going to happen in the future, or what's the current energy that they're feeling according to where Mars is at in their chart, according to what Mars is doing or what Mercury is doing in real life. Like, for example, when we just came out of this Mercury retrograde, my Mercury was in the 6th house. So I had to do a lot of, you know, I tell people that with retrogrades to take the first 2 letters, read. I had to review how I work, you know, my work style, how I get structured, and how I do my health. Like, I had to restructure a lot of these things. I had to review and reflect on this particular area of my life. So yes, it's very, very relevant in helping people understand the current energies that are happening to them now, and what to prepare for in the future.
Yes,
Just on an energetic standpoint.
an energetic standpoint. Okay.
Yeah, but for me personally, I'm more of a personal astrologer. You know, I want to look at your birth chart and help you. My style is more so catered to. I believe in. I believe that in order for us to achieve our path in life and to achieve what we want to achieve, we have to clear up 2 things. And those 2 things are our subconscious mind, those subconscious wounds that are created from our past, which the birth chart indicates where you have wounded at or where you've experienced some type of pain. So I can see that in your birth chart. I want to clear that up, because if you have subconscious wounds, this is the thing that, you know, picture yourself trying to run down the street, but someone's grabbing your shirt. You know, you can't really run. You can't really go anywhere. So I also look at the subconscious wounds as this is what you're attracting into your life. So if you went through a certain thing as a child, or you went through a certain thing in a certain relationship, you have stored these things into your subconscious, and now you're attracting these type of people. You're attracting these type of situations to your life. To me, that's the true law of attraction. So I try to attack that, and then I try to look at what we call the ego, aka the conscious mind, because ultimately, while the subconscious is holding you back, the ego is blocking you. You know, you run in, you finally get free, and you get to that brick wall. But what is that brick wall? That brick wall may be you holding yourself back from you. Maybe that inner voice telling yourself that you're not good enough, or you think that you're better than what you actually are. You know, and you just have to stay on the path that is very, very, very personal to you, because in your birth chart tells you what's for you and what's not for you. So I try to get people to focus on the path that's for them.
So if you do see like someone in their birth chart and they've got like, you can say you can see like a wound or like the subconscious. So when they have a birth chart with you, then you're helping them to like heal that wound, or you letting
Yeah.
saying that they've got a wound and they can go
Yes.
and
So
heal it themselves.
so how I like to cater minds is that's one of the first things that I attack. I look at the aspects, you know, because a lot of people give, you know, squares and oppositions, for example, they get those a bad rap. You know, squares are nothing but a learning process. You know, it wants to reward you once you go through the square. And I try to tell my clients to look at squares exactly what they are, because a lot of astrology is geometry as well. So when you're in a square, look at yourself If you have 4 squares in your chart, that means you have to be at square 1, square 2, square 3, square 4. So we got to get you through these squares in order to get you to the next part. Now, when I see a wound or something, like I may see where Chiron is placed and maybe it's square to ascendant or opposing the sun, I may see different aspects, and I can see where, okay, so you had this situation with your dad. And how is that still affecting you today? Well, you know, I'm having these relationship problems with certain men. Okay, cool. Now, we have to clean this up and get this out the way so you can attract better men, so you can start feeling more confident about yourself. And I give them practical real life tools and tips and my personal story of how I healed my wounds in order for them to clean up the subconscious, because I saw the power of reprogramming my own subconscious mind.
Oh, wow. So how long is this process then? So if somebody like has a reading with you and like you're seeing that there's some subconscious wounds and things, is that just one reading, or is it like they have like set readings with you?
So for me, it depends on what you book, because on my website I have different services. But if we go into, let's say, my standard birth chart reading, which takes about an hour and 30 minutes to 2, yeah, I address all of that within it, because I found that the clients, the first thing that I ask them is, you know, what are you looking to get out of this? You know, okay. So they tell me, I feel like I'm stuck. I feel like I'm this, I feel like that. So I'll break down the subconscious wounds. I'll break down the ego. I'll break down the path in life that you're supposed to be on. But ultimately, I can kind of cover all that within 2 hours. But I do tell them, I understand you're on a journey, right? And this not going to just take me reading your birth chart, breaking this down for you, giving you all the tips and tricks to navigate. And you're not going to just leave out of here and, oh my God, you're liberating, your life is different. This is going to take some work. So I'm here. I have on my website what's called Astrotherapy, where we can meet up. Where I have once a month, sometimes I have twice a month, or, you know, I even offer to my clients, like, hey, I'm here. Take my number, save it. You're not in this journey alone. I had to do mine alone, but you don't necessarily have to do yours alone. And even if it's just you have a quick question, maybe you just want to chop it up for about 10 to 15 minutes. Maybe you're going through something. Feel free to reach out to me, because I've been where you are, you know.
Wow. And do you really encourage, like, in terms of if someone wants like a job or wants a particular relationship, wants the right job, wants the right relationship, you would say to have a chart done?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, you can cater the charts towards anything, because I try to always ask my clients, what are you looking to get out of this? You know, I'm trying to be a better parent. You know what? I just need a sense of direction. I want to know where my life is going. I've had people that just wanted confirmation. They may have been on their path. They may have already looked at their birth chart, but they just wanted me to look at it to confirm some things to them. I get the career. I get the relationships. You know, I get all of it. I've just went through a divorce. You know, I'm looking to start a business, or I just want the whole thing in a nutshell. I'm trying to understand this. You know, it's so many different angles that you can go at it from. I just try to cover all of them.
And I know earlier you said, like, when you was at school, if you were like looking at girls that you liked or things like that, you'd kind of look at the eyes, or particular star signs have different same features and things. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. So each sign has physical features, physical traits, and a lot of it can be defined by the actual symbol that represents the sign. Like for example, if you pay attention to Aries women or Aries ascendant, if you look at their eyebrows are actually curved just like a ram's horns. So I started to notice that. I'm like, wow, she must be an Aries. She has some type of Aries in her big 3, meaning her sun, her moon, or her ascendant, but mainly the sun and the ascendant. So I was like, okay. Then, like I said, you go over to a Taurus. Most Taurus actually do have I'm a Taurus, very strong, sturdy faces. Actually, in some indications, actually really look like a bull. So then you start to go over to like something like a Cancer, who's ruled by the moon. I would actually see, wow, they have a moon face or a pie face. Their face is round. They have round eyeballs. They have a round stomach. I'm like, wow, this stuff is real. You go look at a Leo, they actually have, especially up here in this area, they actually look like a lion. And then they'll wear their hair a certain kind of way that'll just validate that you're a Leo. And I was like, wow, it would blow my mind when I would actually see these things play out in real life.
Mm-hmm. I kind of come from a like psychotherapist background, so I'm trying to be like, because I do believe in the star signs, but then I'm also like, all right, then is it because of like past patterns, like from childhood? Should I not be so like judgmental? Because there is one star sign that me and my sister are like, oh my God, like they are just so miserable and so difficult. I mean, my sister, when she was pregnant, she didn't want to have her baby like this star sign. She was just like, no, God, no, like, please don't let him be born in this star sign. So when it passed that particular star sign, she was like, oh, relieved. But I don't want to be like, well, is that me being judgmental? But I do see characteristics with this particular star sign as well. But then there's another side of me. I'm like looking at other people that are that star sign and trying to see if they're different.
Yeah. Well, when you start to talk about the sun or the star sign, see, that's actually not even the most important aspect of us, you know, because you could try to avoid, let's say, for example, you said your sister, you could try to avoid having your child be a Gemini or Pisces or Scorpio or Sagittarius, but they may end up having a Sagittarius or Gemini or Pisces moon, which you might want them to be a Gemini, but not want them to be a Gemini moon, you know? So it's like, it gets tricky because even if you avoid their sun sign, you probably can't avoid their moon or ascendant. You can't avoid their Venus or their Mercury. And for real, you can't even avoid the sign at all because we have all the signs in our chart, you know? So for example, I'm a Scorpio ascendant. So my second house would be Sagittarius. My third house is Capricorn. My fourth house is Aquarius. Fifth house, Pisces, and so on and so forth. So we all embodied with all of them. So it's like you almost really can't even avoid it to a certain degree because depending on where that placement, that sign that you're trying to avoid is placed in your chart, you're going to experience it anyway. I try to avoid, like, I remember I used to always try to avoid like Gemini placements. I don't have any planets in Gemini, but I have Gemini in the 8th house, and I feel it. I don't like it, but I feel it, you know.
Why don't you like Gemini? What's the thing about Geminis then?
Well, this was on more personal level than it was on a astrological level, because granted, I understand astrology, but if we're just like having fun and we're just talking about the signs, you know, certain characteristics we don't like growing up for me, it was like Geminis is like they seem to be a little absent-minded, very forgetful, you know. It's like I was just like, it just would irritate me a lot because I'm a Taurus, so I deal with a lot of things being set, you know, foundation, a lot of common sense. And when I'm around someone who's very aloof or absent-minded or kind of forgetful or just kind of like
airy,
like it would irritate me a lot. But granted, since I understand astrology, they're ruled by Mercury, the fastest planet. Their mind is moving very, very fast. You know, their thoughts and the information that they're trying to process is going at the speed of light. Like, you know, so granted, I understood it from an astrological standpoint. But as I was growing up personally, I was just like, keep them away from me. But now, you know, it's all good.
That's what I'm like with this star sign. I'll tell you the star sign, it's Pisces.
Oh.
And I find them so, I mean, it might not be with everybody, but I find them very heavy, very serious, very like, yeah, I do. I find Pisces, that maybe the ones that I've been around, are very heavy, very serious. And it's like, yeah. And I haven't met a Pisces that isn't that.
Well,
but I'm thinking, is that law of attraction?
Well, with Pisces, like what we have to understand about Pisces is that, see, they're the last sign. So they embody a little bit of all. They feel all the emotions. They feel all the waves, you know, and then they deal with a lot of, because they're co-ruled by Neptune. Like this is a sign that doesn't have boundaries. They don't know boundaries. They don't know reality to a certain degree. So sometimes I see where you're coming from. It can get real deep and heavy because a lot of what Pisces deals with some deep and heavy stuff, like Neptune, the 12th house period is prisons. It deals with drugs and abuse and addictions. So it can get real deep and dark with low vibrational Pisces. So I definitely see where you're coming from, but yeah.
Oh, so they've got a lot of stuff to deal with.
Yeah, they
And
have a lot of stuff to deal with. They're connected to the realm that we can't see. They're connected to that realm of what we deem as God, that unseen. So sometimes they get a lot of, paranormal activity going on with them. They get a lot of these are the people that will say they saw a ghost or they hearing voices, and it may be very, very true because they're getting a lot of downloads from realms that we can't see because the 12th house deals with the unseen realm, So it's very, very true. And they have to process and try to deal with a lot in a space that they come from that has no boundaries, that has no limitations. So it's like how deep they can go is just so crazy. It's boundless.
that's really interesting because now that you say that, I'm like, they're always like just thinking, and it's like I'm like, stop thinking, like come down to earth.
It's more so, see, the thinking is the Geminis and the Aquariuses. See, the Pisces is more so daydreaming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, daydreaming.
They are debilitated and they are at detriment in Mercury. So it's not a lot of thinking going on. It's more so being lost in another realm.
Yeah, I would agree with that. But I'm like, come back here, like,
Yeah.
don't get lost, don't go there, don't go in that dark place, come
Yeah.
here, let's get in the light.
Yeah, because Pisces deals with escapism. So a lot of times when stuff gets a little bit too hectic for them, a little bit too heated for them, they like to run away. They like to try to run away to their own, realm, and they like to escape into daydreams, and they like to escape into other realms to not face reality. Yeah,
That's
that's what that is.
interesting.
And sometimes it gets real deep and dark because all of that escapism, depending on how that chart is made up, it can lead to abuse, addictions, self-sabotage, and things like that.
That's, you know what, you saying that has made me like, okay, I'm going to see them in a different light of,
Yeah, just see
like,
them in
well,
the light. Yeah, you have to
yeah,
be a
yeah.
little more gentle and compassionate with Pisces because they're processing everything from every sign, and they're getting so much information from other realms that we couldn't even understand. Unless we have some type of 12th house placements.
So I can see how that you learning all this stuff, it does make you more empathetic to
Yeah,
understand, people of like they can't help it.
yeah. It's
That's
just
just their script.
Yeah, they're just playing out their birth chart, and ultimately they have some type of lesson to learn through their placements, or they have some type of goal and path and destiny and journey to fulfill based off of their alignments. Because also with Pisces, we, even if we focus on even if we talk about the low vibration, see the high vibration of a Pisces is that, oh, these are the unconditional lovers. These people don't judge people. These people are the most creative people I've ever seen in my life. There's no sign in the zodiac more creative than a Pisces. Their ability to pull stuff down from that realm we don't see and turn it into arts and crafts, to design a dress, to become a party, they do the stuff, the party decorators and create masks for Halloween, and oh my God, it's remarkable what they could do with their creative abilities and what they can do for the collective as universal love. These people are very, very good, and they're very wise people because a lot of the information that they're pulling down is not worldly information. It's not from a book. They're pulling down stuff from their intuition. They're pulling down stuff from what they're perceiving, the energy that they're picking up from their environments. So they're very, very wise people.
So they're able to tap into that, though, their talents and those things, if they remove those blocks, though.
Yes, that's the key for Pisces, is to remove those blockages. And see, they're exalted in Venus. So what an exaltation does, I try to tell people, look at an exaltation as you being at Disney World. When you're at Disney World, you know, you just want to spend all the money, you want to eat all the food, you want to ride all the rides. And when we talk about Venus, we talk about love. And then when we combine all of the aspects of Pisces into Venus, they dive deep. Like when I say they dive deep, and sometimes they overcompensate and overlove, and then they get drained, and then they have to go back to home or wherever they call home, or escape off somewhere to try to rebuild their energy. But instead of them doing things in balance and understanding how powerful they really are, this is when they start to retreat to drugs. This is when they start to retreat to schizophrenia and needing a therapist and self-sabotage, because they don't even, the power that they exhibit is sometimes way more powerful than they actually are.
Wow, that's really interesting. Now, I know that you said you're going to do like a couple of like readings now, but how are you able to do that?
So what it is that once how I'm able to do it is that you know, when someone throws out a placement, see, the planets are just energies. You know, and they have a breakdown. You know, Mars is your aggression, your intent, your willpower. Jupiter is knowledge, wisdom, expansion. You know, Venus is love, beauty, appreciation. So when someone takes their planet and wants to know, hey, I have Mars in the 5th house and it's in Aries. So now what I'm doing is I'm like, okay, Mars, I have to take what Mars is. Mars is the character, you know, so Mars is, let's say Mars is Joseph. All right. His Mars is in Aries. Aries is the way that Joseph is going to express his Mars. Now, the 5th house, now I need to know what area of life is Joseph expressing his Aries energy. He's doing it in the 5th house. So the 5th house deals with fun, how you express yourself, creativity. You know, it deals with risk and reward. It deals with things like that. So this deals with your inner child. So naturally, I'll take Mars and Aries, place it in the 5th house, and says that this is a person that whatever that they're doing, they're probably good at sports. Mars deals with sports, you know, athletes. And in Aries, they're probably extremely good at it, and they're very aggressive. They're very straightforward. They're very brave. They're probably some type of pioneer. You know, whatever it is that they're doing and how they're expressing themselves is going to be very straightforward. It's going to be very direct. Now, ultimately, what's really going to tell me the story about their Mars and Aries is the aspects. So if they have a Mars and Aries, like, for example, I'll throw out one of my placements. If you have like, for example, I have Mars and Aries in the 5th house, but it's quincunx, my Scorpio moon in the 12th house. So now this tells the whole story now. Now we really getting a story. So a quincunx is nothing but
Oh, it's cutting out. Oh.
to beware of open hidden enemies. These are people that may be right in front of my face that I don't know that are really against me.
Wow. So how long has it taken you to like learn all this, or to be an astrologer?
Well, you can learn astrology in about, it depends on how you learn. It depends on your learning style, but I would say it could take you about 8 months to really learn the whole thing. But to actually really get to the point where it's right off the top of your head, where you start to do the calculation, do all this stuff in your head, you know, that's a lifetime of learning. Because even now, I'm still learning, and my dream has come true. That I always used to say to people, only if I could get paid to learn. That's all I want to do. If I can make a living off learning, and I found that. because you never, ever. Astrology, just when you think you got it, you got, if somebody else stretches your perspective, or some other book come out, or some other study comes out, or something else that's going on in the cosmos to pay attention to that may affect people's lives, it's like you're always learning. So it's like something that you never ever stop doing. But my advice to people who want to take on astrology is, if you want to really do that, it really has to become your life. Because it's one of those things that, like I said, I go to the grocery store and I'm seeing how someone is shopping, and I can determine, oh, they must have a Mercury in Virgo. With the way that they have their list, they're checking everything off their list. They have a bunch of health stuff in their cart. It's all fruits and vegetables and spinach and supplement pills. Oh, this must be a Mercury in Virgo, and it's probably in their 6th house. And then you can start to do stuff like that, and you can start to predict events that can happen. It's just so much that you can learn. But I try to tell people to be a real life astrologer, like actually go out here, interact with people, and see their Gemini moon play out. Actually go out here with people and see their Mars and Virgo play out. That's what really can happen. Because I've studied, like, for example, I've studied so much on cancers. Someone asked me the other day, how did you know to ask someone, since they were a Cancer ascendant or they were a Cancer, how did you know to ask them about car accidents? I was like, well, to be honest with you, I don't know that answer from an astrological standpoint. But I said, out of the 850 cancers that I've studied, 820 of them have been in multiple car accidents or got car problems.
Really?
So it's like so many different angles that you can come at it from.
Yeah, but I know you're saying like it can take 8 months to do astrology, but it's clearly, right, you're talking, you can see that it hasn't been 8 months for you. You know your stuff.
Yeah, it's take a while.
For sure. And it seems like you're destined for it from a young age, to be able to kind of look at someone and say, oh, look at the eyes and the features, and to kind of, as a young kid, it shows that you're like made for that path. That's your path.
Yeah. According to my birth chart, I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, and it's been a flow. It hasn't been any friction. It's been just working. It's just been working for me. For a while I wasn't doing it because I have Chiron in Virgo, right? And it's in my 10th house, which is the house of your career. And so for a long time, I wasn't actually,
Oh, it's cutting out.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
All right. For a long time, because of my Chiron in Virgo in the 10th house, I wasn't really showcasing what I could do. Because, with Chiron and Virgo, this makes me feel like I have to be perfect before I present myself to the world. 10th house deals with your public, how you're viewed by the public. Chiron is a wound. Virgo deals with perfectionism. So I felt like I had to be perfect in order to before I presented myself to the world with what I do for a living, because 10th house deals with career. So yeah.
So I'm going to ask you a question. What star sign do you think I am?
You look, let me see. According to what I'm looking at here, you're a Virgo?
Yeah, I am.
I
am a Virgo. You didn't look that up?
No, I was looking right at you.
So what is it that you can see that makes me a Virgo?
So when we deal with Virgo, see, we also have to look at the opposite sign. So the opposite sign is Pisces. Pisces, co-ruled by Neptune. So this gives someone a face of mysticism. Maybe a face of, I like to say that most Virgo people have a very dreamy face. They have a very distinct, maybe pointy nose. It's almost similar to being a wizard. you know, because opposite to them is Neptune. You know, that they like to say that Virgo is the only human sign. So it's just I get that indication from the nose and just from the very mystic face, you know. But ultimately, your ascendant sign, according to your face, do you know what your ascendant or rising is? You know what that is? Have you ever heard of that?
I know, I hear, but you know, so many like terminology, it's a bit confusing.
Okay. So for you, I would probably say your ascendant sign is Taurus.
I don't know.
Oh, you don't know it? Yeah. I would probably say either Taurus. Yeah, I'm getting Taurus from you.
So ascending sign Taurus.
Yeah, you should look up your birth chart and then it'll tell you ascendant.
And what would that mean then with the ascended? What does
So
everybody need to know what the ascended is
yes,
first?
the ascendant is along with the moon is very important because the ascendant is what determines your course of life. You know, it's in house one, and house one is our birth, it's our personality, it's our aura, it's how other people perceive us, it's the energy we give off, it's the things we're into. You know, it determines our whole course of life. So according to your ascendant sign will then chart off the rest of your birth chart. You know, so if you were a Taurus, ascendant, your second house, which is your values, your material acquisitions, your appreciation, your money, would then go to Gemini. You know, then your third house, which is your communication, transportation, siblings, familiar faces and places and surroundings, and all of that different type of stuff will be in Cancer, and then so on and so forth, and that determines your course of life.
Oh, so it's
Sounds
like
very,
you know your star. You have to know your star sign, and you have to know your ascended
yeah.
sign.
You have to know all of them, but the big three are very important. You know, the
Wow.
sun, moon, ascendant, or
And
sun.
yeah. Do you know like I don't know if you've heard with like Kabbalah, the Kabbalah religion,
I think I've heard of it, but never looked into it.
because they kind of look at your birth date and they look at your name. Like,
Hmm.
do you look at the person's name in it as well? Or?
Oh, so with the names, you're talking about more so along the lines probably of like numerology. I know a guy who can look at your name and tell you basically like your something that's maybe going on in your life or area of life you should focus on. I do a little teeny bit of numerology because if I'm looking at someone's birth chart and I see, you know, numbers repeat, or a lot of numerology is in astrology actually,
Yeah.
because you have something that's called a perfection year. So according to your age determines what area, aka what house, is an emphasis in your life that you need to be focused on according to the year. So all of it is kind of intertwined in together.
Oh, so the numeral, so your name and your birth sign thing, it's a little bit in together, but it's are completely different then.
Yeah, it's still a different study, you know,
Okay.
but
Yeah.
it correlated and intertwined with each other.
And is that even like with the life path number as well? Is that different from
Yeah, the
astrology?
life path number, from what I know, is the calculation of your birth date. You know, and then
Mm.
you get a life path number that is almost similar. It just basically gives you the basic energy and outlook of your life. Like, for example, I'm in life path 7, and this helped me understand a lot about a lot of the things that have happened in my life and why I perceive the world I do, why I'm into some of the things I am too. Like, for example, a life path 7 is the seeker of knowledge, the seeker of wisdom, the person who gathers the knowledge and wisdom and teaches it back to people. But it also says with a life path 7, they will probably become or tend to be loners. But
Mm.
it depends on what your definition of a loner is, because I love being to myself because that gives me more time to learn. So it's like it kind of all works out, and that's kind of the course of my life. You know, I spend a lot of my time learning. You know, I still hang out with friends and family, but I actually enjoy spending most of my time in a place where I can just devour so much knowledge in order for me to be a better value to other people.
Mm-hmm. Wow. And you know, because you've got courses to do, like for people to get birth charts done and things. Do you do them like over like email? Do you do it face to face? How does it kind of go?
Well, I do mine over the phone, FaceTime, Zoom. If anyone is in the area I live in, we can do face to face. But yeah, that's how I do mine. Just like if me and you are sitting here talking, just like this.
Okay. So, and they're normally an hour.
No, it's about it depends. About an hour and a half too. Because I like to go in depth because I like to give people a little bit of everything. I like to review everything. I don't want people to just leave because it'll burn me up inside if I felt like you left and the only thing you had a clearer indication on was your personality. Like I want to dig into, like I said, that past, that present, and where you need to go. Because ultimately everyone is here trying to get on their path, trying to get this life correct, so to speak. So I try to focus on how can we get you on your path, your path.
And
Because,
sorry. What were you
no, I'm
saying?
about to say because, ultimately, with the world that we live in, we've been taught all our lives to go externally. Whether we were taught to go externally through religion, whether we were taught to go externally based off of what our parents taught us or what our environment has instilled in us. Now it's time for people to go internally and to find out what they want out of life, what their path is, why they were put here. Because now we can get you up out of that social construct and thinking that you have to make a certain amount of money. You have to look a certain way. You have to have a certain house. You have to have a certain car. You have to present yourself to people a certain way. No, we're going to identify and break down who are you and where do you fit into this world. And we don't care about the rest of that stuff that's going on.
And it's like we're kind of going back to the ancient times of our ancestors, of where they would get their knowledge and their wisdom and guidance for us to navigate through life. Like, I'm into the chakras, you're with the astrology. So we're all kind of, we're seeing that actually there's a lot of wisdom that we need to apply
Exactly.
for our current life. Yeah. Do you, with your, like with the, is it reading? Is it birth chart reading? Is it birth chart reading?
Natal chart reading, birth chart reading, interpretation, breakdown. It's all the same.
Natal, do you say natal chart reading?
Natal chart. It's the same thing as birth chart.
Okay. So would someone just go once and have it with you, or do they kind of consult you like throughout their life? How does it go?
Right now I'm setting it up to where I consider myself a personal astrologer. So I want to be your personal astrologer. I have people text me, ask me, hey man, I'm feeling this throughout the day. Maybe some of my clients, what's going on in the transits or what's going on in my chart? So yes, I'm very personal with people. So yes, you may get one reading, but we can set up, like I said, I have a section on my website that's called Astrotherapy. Well, we maybe meet once a month or twice a month, because to just read your birth chart and now I just slammed your whole life in front of your face. That's a lot to digest, So it's not going to be a one quick fix, a one stop shop. I'm gonna get this birth chart reading, and all of a sudden I'm just on to my best life. It's not that simple. It's a whole journey, and I'm here for you along the journey, whether I'm your personal astrologer, whether I'm the teacher, because my first love in astrology, before I ever do natal chart readings, is teaching. And I do a lot of teaching in my readings because I believe that my clients should be able to now take what they've learned from the reading and go home and be personal with their chart. It's very important for them to now look at Neptune on the ascendant, Neptune on the ascendant square, the 10th house, and know what that means. You know what I mean? Like, that's very important to me, that they can go home and now have a clarification, or get off the call and have a clarification of what that means for their life.
Yeah. Would you say would you recommend then, if someone who was going to have a child, they're pregnant, and then they gave birth, to have like their birth chart done then for the child?
Very, very, very important, because in the chart, get my charger. In the chart, it tells you whether you have some type of fertility issues. In the chart, it'll tell you a lot of different types of things in the chart, you know? So I definitely recommend, and one of my points of emphasis, and I can't wait till I roll this out, is astrology for kids, because I just did a room on Clubhouse called The Moon Sign and the Relationship to the Mom, and it was very healing for a lot of people because it revealed to them maybe their parenting style. Maybe they've been a little bit too harsh on their kids. Maybe they need to change up a little bit of something, because it's all energy, you know. So I think it's very, very important for parents to also know their kids' birth chart and their birth chart, because now you see what your role is in their life, and now you see where you maybe can be causing some issues or where you may be helping them in, you know. It's very, very important. I take that aspect of it to heart, because, you know, one thing that really breaks my heart in America, I'm not sure how it is over there in the UK, is that a lot of these children are going to school, and the school systems, aka the government, is putting these children on these drugs, or sticking them with needles and putting stuff into their bodies, and deeming them as special education or ADHD. But really, if they take the time to understand this child and look at their birth chart, they'll understand that, no, he's just a Leo moon. He just needs a little bit of stimulation throughout his day. Maybe he needs to work with his hands. He needs to be active. No, he's just a Gemini Mercury. This is someone who needs to learn in a different way. So instead of us drugging people up and trying to stagnate them and numb them because we want them to calm down, or we think that they have a problem, we need to understand that we need to make the environment conducive to that person, you know. And that's very, very, very important to me, because it breaks my heart to see these children get stuck in these classes, get labeled with certain things, and it affects their self-esteem, it affects their self-worth. And all you needed to do is look at their chart and see that they had a bunch of Gemini placements and a bunch of maybe Aries placements. This is a person that sounds like to me that needs to be playing some type of sport, not sitting down in an 8-hour class reading about Benjamin Franklin. You know,
Yeah.
that's not what that needs to be.
Yeah. But then I suppose, you know, it's good to have, then you're saying it's good to have that knowledge for parents, if, you know, when the child is born, to get a birth chart reading. But I know when I was watching Buddha on Netflix, and his parent, his father, had, like, they did a reading, and he tried to alter like what was in the child's, in Buddha's like reading. He tried to not get him on the path of the ascetic path, and he just, you know, and it kind of just sort of faltered. So it's not something then that if somebody gets a reading for their child, that they can alter what's going to happen if they see something bad for the child that's going to happen.
Not necessarily alter it, but what I like to say is to be aware, because with awareness, I'm very big on awareness, because I don't think that we can change. I don't think that we can change what's already meant for us, right? I really don't think that we can change that. But with awareness, we can better navigate life. We can better navigate things throughout our life. You know, like, for example, when I saw that my Chiron was in the 10th house, and that has to do with a career, you know, it has to do with authority, it has to do with parenting. And I saw that actually transpired and actually really happened in my life. It helped me in my forgiving process. Basically, what it helped, not only with the forgiving process, it helped me to not personalize everything, right? Because oftentimes when things happen in our lives, we take things personal. And nine times out of 10, what we're taking personal is what someone did to us. So with the awareness of my placements and how the energies played out in my life, I no longer take things personal. It's easier for me to let go of things that what we deem as people doing stuff to us. Nobody is doing anything to you. They're just here, just like you, a character that's helping you play out your birth chart. That's all. That's all they're doing. So whether you have a placement where you went through some type of verbal abuse, it says that in your chart. Now, what the chart can help you do is to cope and to make peace with people who may have carried out their verbal abuse to you, because all they were doing is, according to their placements, playing out the verbal abuse for you. That's all it is.
So why do you, in your words, in the way you think, why do we have a birth chart? Why do we have this life script? What's your view on that?
I personally think that some people tie it to past lives and karma and the reincarnation. You know, I just personally believe that life is it's so complex and it's so beautiful that everything in this world has a manual, right? Your TV, when you buy it, it has a manual. Your iPhone has a manual. Your computer has a manual. But now it's to the point now, it's like, yo, don't we have a manual too? Because if everything has instructions, we have to have instructions too. So why, I'm still stuck on the why do I think we have a birth chart? That is a great question. And as a matter of fact, you're going to make me actually sit and think and dig deeper on that. Because why? Why do we have a birth chart? I just think that the creator has his mission, his or her or its mission. And I always felt like this, because I always said this in conversation with people. I look at life like a game or like some type of project. He has his mission. She has his mission. And we are just players or pawns in the game or in the project to carry out the mission. So that's why I think we have birth charts, because we're put here to carry out one specific mission that he has. And he gives a certain assignment to us for us to carry out. And I ultimately think it's for the betterment of humanity. I really do.
I like that answer. That's going to make me think, actually. I like that of the mission. There's an ultimate purpose. Oh, well, thank you. I think well, thank you for being here, because I've had so many questions and you've kind of you have answered a lot of them, and it's a lot. And I know you're saying it's 8 months for someone to learn all of this, but I think it's a life. It's a lot. Yeah. You've got a lot of knowledge. I mean, I only knew about star signs. I didn't know about the ascended and even features and things like that. So it goes a lot deeper.
Yeah, it's a lot deeper.
And how can people reach you? Where can they reach you to get a reading as well? And even in the UK?
Yeah, I take clients from all over the world. I've had clients in New Zealand. I've had clients in Trinidad. I've had clients in Colombia, Venezuela. So I'm all over the world. You can go into my Instagram bio. My website is theastromotivator.com. You can find me on Clubhouse, Vonte_stay ahead. Also on Twitter, Vonte stay ahead. Instagram, Vonte_what's next. You can DM me for readings. You can go straight to my website and book them. I also have turned my podcast into a teaching platform where you can go on YouTube and find the Astro-Motivator, where you can find where I'm talking about the houses, where I'm talking about the planets, where I'm talking about maybe something that I was talking about on Clubhouse, or just my thoughts on astrology. I'm always teaching on that platform. It's on YouTube, it's on Spotify, it's on Google Podcasts, Anchor, Breaker, Overcast, Radio Public, wherever you get your podcast at, you can find that there. It's the Astro Motivator. That's what I like to call myself, because I like to combine astrology with practical real life motivation. So that's where you can find me. My link is in my bio of my Instagram, theastromotivator.com. And also you can email me if you just have any questions or inquiries, at the Astro-Motivator at gmail.com. And that's where you can find me.
Perfect. Well, I'll also put like your details on like with this video as well, so people can like find you as well. But thank you so much. Are you on Facebook? Because I'm a Facebook girl.
Facebook. I am on Facebook. It's just my regular account. I don't remember the name, but thank you for reminding me of that, because I have to transition my Facebook into the business aspect, like I've done with my Instagram and my Twitter. So thanks for reminding me of that. I'm actually, when I get it, because I don't remember the name, I have to log in and all that, I'm gonna send it to you so you can follow me, and I'll follow you back.
Perfect. All right then. Well, it's evening here, like we're at 8 o'clock, and you've got the rest of the day ahead.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, though. It's been like a real blessing, because I've learned so much. And the last question as well, I'm going to ponder that.
Yeah, I'm going to think about that one real hard. Like, I might make a Clubhouse room on it, because that's a good thought.
Thank you, Vonte. And I will catch up with you a little bit later.
Okay, cool. I appreciate it.
All right. Take care then.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
I don't know how to switch it off. I hope you guys learned so much from that. He is amazing. And it will be posted so you can get all the details of how to get a reading with him. And I definitely want one myself. Take care then. Bye.